All right, looks like we're here and it's going live. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so let's get rolling here. I'm gonna grab my cup of coffee. Thank you to the lovely Tina. As always, repping my Gracie Baja buddies. And I love Gracie Baja. I don't know if some of you maybe don't know, but I've been involved with Gracie Baja, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Association, teaching schools. It's the largest academy in the world. And we have, last I heard, over 800 schools worldwide, including one in northern Uganda that I was able to be instrumental in planting, and actually the first jiu-jitsu school in Uganda. And also right now the current East African champions of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is that school in Gulu, Uganda. Anyway, I'm a brown belt under Professor Felipe Gedges and Professor Flavio Almeida, and been studying with them since 2008, 2007, somewhere in there. Professors, if you're watching, you can help me remember when the school opened in San Clemente, California there. But I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And what I've been teaching on these classes has been primarily Filipino weapons-based so far. But if you're interested, I'd love to start teaching some Jiu-Jitsu-based concepts as well. I think it's fantastic. And there are some exercises that you can do as well, solo, to help just strengthen your body, work on coordination, work on flexibility, and also start to understand some of the concepts and the things that are so important with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So with that, let me know in the comments if you guys want to see some of that. I'm going to just talk at you for a little bit here and sip a little bit of coffee, and then I am going to lead you live in a training right now. So we're going to be using a single stick, and I'm just going to walk you through about a 25-minute movement pattern class. And it's morning for me here, so I'm just going to take it easy and start warming up and get my body moving, and just show you some of the things that I would do on a daily or every other day basis, and give you an idea of what it looks like when you're actually in my garage, okay, in the morning. So I'll change this angle just a little bit. Go ahead and grab a stick. Remember, it doesn't matter what you hold in your hand. What matters is that you hold something that, is not sharp, so you don't hurt yourself, and it approximates some kind of an impact weapon, right? Traditionally, again, they would use some kind of a wooden implement, this being rattan. Rattan is actually, in my understanding, a vine, not actually a piece of wood. And so when we start doing partner drills and hitting these sticks together, the rattan absorbs a lot of the energy, and it also doesn't splinter or shatter, so it's safer to use. When you're hitting it with each other, they absorb a lot of the energy, so it doesn't damage your joints. It also doesn't shatter and get pieces of wood in your eye, which splinters in your eye obviously would not be good. So just grab something, get off the couch, get away from your desk, and prop your phone up, and let's get working together. So here we go. Grab your stick. I'm going to try to change this angle just a little bit more and see some of the footwork. And I'm going to be trying to speak loud. Hopefully you can hear me okay. And so what I want you to do is just hold your stick. Sometimes what we do is wrap it under and just hold the hand here. And then I want you just to start working your female triangle open footwork. So I'm just stepping now. Notice my hips and my body move forward. My feet come back together at the point of the triangle, which is facing backwards. The open part, the wider part, is towards the front. So I'm just moving. No particular amount of times to do this. I turn my shoulder in, turn my shoulder in. One, two, three, 4, 5, let's do 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good, and we'll go backwards. So now notice my hips stay forward. I'm not moving back. I'm not moving back. For this one, I just want to keep my weight over the front foot. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now I'm going to close that female triangle. So I'm going to step forward. I bring my knees and my feet together. Step across to that other front part, that other front line. Bring the knees and feet together. Step back. Up, over, back. Up, over, back. Some people teach really kind of keeping the legs open like this. I prefer to really accentuate closing those lines off, closing the lines off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we'll go the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guessed it, going backwards in the male triangle. Now my body weight does have to move along the line. So as I step back, step forward, one, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to do what's called the Escala, which is a 6, it's like an asterisk, an X with a line across the center. So I have an open female triangle moving forward. I have an open male triangle moving backwards. Then I have a line straight to my left and a line straight to my right. Forward, back, my left, my right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I want you to do another 5. You can follow along with me if you want to, but I'm not going to do it in the same exact order every time. I'm also going to add 2 additional steps. When we have that horizontal line through the center of that X, sometimes we have our foot on the center of the asterisk, and the other foot just steps forward and backwards, and we call that the lateral triangle, which is on the side here. So as I step, I might step this way this time. So I hit all 6 of those lines, but in a different order than what I did the first time with you. And then I can add that lateral triangle. And then the other side, the lateral triangle. Okay, so let's just do your speed, your time. I'm going to do 5, and then we'll move on. Okay, so I'm going to use different angles, different line patterns each time. All right, just to exercise my creativity. So I might start to the right this time, and then start backwards, forward, backwards, to the right, to the right. Lateral triangle. Do 3 of those. Bring my foot back, lateral triangle. Then I pick another pattern, come back to my escala again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, lateral triangle. Again, no magic. What I'm trying to do is just work on some creativity and awareness. I'm back again, second time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lateral triangle. Okay, and so you can do that a few more times. I realize I only did it 3, but I'm thinking about time now. Now let's grab our stick, all right? So take the footwork out of it and let's just start moving the hands a little bit. So I want you to take your, whether you're a right hand or left hand dominant, doesn't matter, put the stick in your hand. Your other hand, I want you to put it right over your sternum, right above your solar plexus, right over where your heart would be, okay? So we're gonna hit a downward figure 8. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice I have a good fist width beneath my hand. I'm holding my stick tightly. I'm not opening my hand. It's tight, grip tight. Pivot this camera slightly. Get a little bit more room here. Good. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then I want you to just put the stick over your shoulder, reach underneath and grab it, strike up like this, and then I'm going to do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Underneath, grab it. Now upwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Over the top, underneath, boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over the top, underneath. Now, straight across the high line. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring it up underneath. Now I want you to go down and then back up that same line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5. Now I want you to go the opposite way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My mistake. This way. 1, 2. Bet you're wondering, what's he doing? That's the same thing. You're right, it was 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Now here's a different one for you. I want you to go horizontal across your body, so forehand shot, and then turn the stick down, and with the backhand, go vertical. So inward, backhand, inward, backhand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get out, inward, backhand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, the opposite of that. Backhand, vertical inward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit. Backhand, vertical inward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over the top. Okay? Can't get the shoulder this morning. Okay. Those were just patterns from what we call the figure 8 family. Now there are many figure 8 family patterns. Those were just 2, 4, 6, 8 different stroking patterns from there, okay? So you could see there's many different ways to do this. Many different ways to do this. Now I'd like to do something called the redondo. Redondo, and you can see this back in the videos, introduced this last week. So my hand, the stick is across my body, and I want to hit always on this side of my body now because it's a backhand redondo. If I had it on this side, it would be a forehand redondo. Redondo means repetitive on the same line, okay, like a wheel. So all we're going to do is keep this shot vertically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so when you hit, pull it back around. As I hit out, pull it back around. Pull it back around. And what you'll see is it ends up being a whipping motion on the end of the stick here. Whipping it down. Whipping it. So it's not just making a circle, it's actually throwing the tip out to whip it. Makes a whipping motion, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I lead with my elbow. 5. Okay, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over the top, hit out, change your footwork. Put the stick across your body. Now the same thing. 1. Don't hit yourself in the elbow here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? 1. Pull it back. 2. Pull it back. 3. Pull it back. Just get used to the feeling of moving the weapon in this manner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now we're going to do it on the forehand side. The weapon isn't going to be across my body, it's going to be open. Keep the stick here. My hand is where, guys? Right on the sternum, right out above the solar plexus. Not the solar plexus, slightly above, okay? Above the heart. Here, out, bring it back and around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right here, my wrist rolls to bring the stick up. Okay, and I'm going to hit on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Now, let's put some of these things over some footwork, shall we? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do something called Amara. Amara is where, in my definition, one way to do it is we take a hand pattern over a footwork pattern, and we finish with a 3 or 4 count standardized pattern, like a jab, cross hook, cross hook, cross hook, cross hook. It's something that I'm trying to burn into my brain and get repetition in my body. So in this case, we're going to do low backhand, high backhand. Okay, so it's going to be low backhand, high backhand, just like that. Low backhand, high backhand. So let's do a downward figure 8, and we're going to do it over a open female triangle. So I'm going to do 5 hits, and then I'm going to rotate. All right. And I know I shouldn't be turning my back to the camera, but I'm going to just for demonstration purposes. All right. So here's how we do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. Now I'm going to turn 90 degrees. Like if I'm facing north, I'm going to turn to the east, and I do the same exact thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. Facing south again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. Facing to the west. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. Now I'm back facing north again. I'm going to switch my stick, and I'm doing the exact same thing now with the left hand. All right. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. To the east now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. Facing south. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. To the west. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. Switch hands. And now I'm going to switch patterns. Let's do an upward figure 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. Back to north. Switch my stick. Hit. Now do the same exact thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Low backhand, high backhand. Using this pattern, You could take any of the footwork drills we've done, any of the hand work we do, mix it together, and create a training pattern for yourself. Okay? So between now and Tuesday, your assignment is to do 5 minutes minimum of this every day if you can. All right? You can do it while you're watching TV. You can do it before you go to sleep. You can do it on a lunch hour. You can do it anywhere. I used to step out and go into a fire hallway and do this when I worked in a building. When I had a break or when I was having lunch, I would eat and then I would go. When I used to work security, sometimes you'd have to stand at a door in the back of a building where no one was around, making sure people didn't come in and out. And sometimes we'd have a 4-hour, 5-hour, 6, 7, 8-hour shift on that spot. Nothing to do but stand here and look at the wall and look at people that aren't here. And I would get up with my baton and just start doing these exercises, okay? Give yourself something to think about. Move your body. You can see it doesn't have to be hard. I can do it fast and hard if I want. I can pick up the speed, but it doesn't have to be, all right? So that's our form practice. Now, we also do something similar to shadowboxing, which is referred to generally as carenza. Carenza, to me, is a solo drill, and I also put the stipulation on there that it's spontaneous and creative. What does that mean? I'm just going to take my weapon or my empty hands and just start to move around in the air and hit. And I start to imagine targets, somebody reaching at me, somebody trying to hit me, somebody trying to grab me. Or you can just imagine, I don't know, loading pineapples or something to hit. It doesn't matter. But you start to see things in your mind and then you focus on it and you hit it with the weapon using any of the strikes you know how to use, okay? So all of the different things we practice should start to come out spontaneously from you in flow while you are shadow boxing. So make sure when you do this, you don't just face one direction. So I can do my downward. I'm just moving my feet, right? I can be on footwork patterns, doing triangles, or I can just move athletically. Athletically, that was funny. That almost made me laugh. Just move around. You know, one of my instructors said the best way to learn footwork is to play pickup basketball with street basketball guys, because you're learning how to shuffle and move athletically, okay? Just move, it doesn't matter, all right? But bend your knees and just move around. There's my upward figure eight. Back downward figure eight on that one side. On the other side, redondo. Backhand, low backhand, high backhand, redondo. Figure eight again. There's all kinds of different movement patterns that you're going to start to learn that are going to put together a vocabulary list for you. Okay, and then when you do that, make sure that you start to do that with your offhand as well. Trying to stay in the frame of the video here. Move, respond. You can make it staccato and just move, or you can make it very smooth and just relax. Doesn't matter. You'll do what's best for you in the moment. But what I would say is practice, 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 all right? You'll remember this pattern from earlier in the week. I'm standing here, footwork out, footwork out, footwork out. So all I'm doing is jabbing in that redondo motion, slash across the belly. Jab straight in, redondo, slash across the belly. Okay? So we're getting ready to close in the next minute or two here. Do me a favor, guys, ladies, write out in the comments If you like this format with me teaching it this way, I know you can't interact with me anyway, but it's live and unscripted, right? I have a basic plan, and then I'm just leaving you. Or does it matter to you and it just be that pre-recorded YouTube format that I've been doing? Odds are really good it's going to be a combination of both going forward. But do me a favor and just leave me a message what your thoughts are. If you enjoy doing this class, if I need to pick it up at all. I know some of you are martial artists, and this is very basic old hat for you. There are others that are brand new, that this is challenging and possibly even overwhelming to you. That's okay. I'm trying to help and be along working with both of you guys, both of those groups of people. Okay, there's no group that I'm trying to get out or stay away from here. However, just understand, if you're someone who's more advanced, remember what it was like when you were first learning and how frustrating it could be. So we don't want to scare those people away and leave them in the dust, all right? What I was thinking about, and what Tina mentioned to me, my wife Tina, was that maybe it'd be good to bring in Ram, my friend and student here, and for me to demonstrate some of these things in a martial way to show you actually what they look like when we're talking about using it as a martial art. For me, and for many of us who have done this for a while, we can instantly see the applications. We can understand it without demonstration because of our reference and our background. But if you've never seen this, it might be very difficult for you to understand what these motions mean and how they apply in a real situation. So next week, I think I'm going to do a few videos that are just kind of demonstrations showing you what the things you're learning are going to lead to and what you're being prepared to be able to do. How can you actually use this to defend yourself or your loved ones? Okay, because ultimately, martial arts to me is about fellowship, friendship, movement, fun, history, culture, but it's also about learning to be able to protect myself and my family, my loved ones, in a world where not everything is light and love and fuzzy, warm cinnamon rolls, right? The world can be a dark, dirty, mean, horrible place. And I want to be able to walk through it with confidence that I don't have to worry about my wife and I and my family being hurt if a bad guy comes along. I can take care of myself. Okay? I can take care of her and other loved ones. That to me is a big benefit of the training we're doing. And all the things I'm showing you, that's what they're for, ultimately. Okay, so we'll do that next week. I'll put up some videos and you'll be able to see some of the applications of what this stuff does and what it's for. All right? So I hope you've gotten your weapons out and I hope you've done some work. I hope you've been out and actually moved around with us today. I'm going to go ahead and call that a day. It's been about a half an hour, not quite. And go ahead and please leave me some comments, your thoughts, and we'll see you again next week. Blessings, everybody.